down the highway to Acadia Boulevard. I don't think this is open. Maybe it is. I see somebody in there. They may be working, but maybe it's closed. But I'm dying to get a cup of coffee. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. As you know, I could sleep in till at least 6, on my days off. This is my vacation day. But I like getting up early, especially trying to make the most of today in Encinitas, because I may be leaving tomorrow. It's up to me. I don't have to be back at work until Monday. It's now Friday, so technically I have all my stuff in the car, and technically I really want to. I could stay here till probably Sunday afternoon. I could stay here Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 more days. 3 more days in Encinitas. But I told Richard I'm not 100% sure how long I'm going to stay, but I have to be back Monday morning, so most likely the longest I will stay is midday Sunday, because I would get into Phoenix Sunday evening and most likely just go to the truck and spend the night Sunday night, most likely. But anyway, I'm glad I made this trip here. Richard and I just basically last night went out and got a pizza, Acadia pizza, and had a beer, and just hung out at his place and talked about life and what happens after we leave this dimension, and our history. He was a member of Self-Realization Fellowship with me, and he went to these yearly conventions, called it convocations. He said he went from 1970 something all the way to like 24 years, and then he did Kriya, practiced meditation just like I did. He was married in a temple. We have a lot of parallels. We've practiced for years. I'd go to long meditations at the temple, practicing silence and practicing the presence of God, and real deep. We both were real deep into it. And then there's a point we didn't fall away because we didn't believe in it, or it just ended up not being a lifelong practice for us. So we kind of had that in common. We didn't talk about it. We just happened to, we just fell out of the practice, and we stopped meditating like we did, religiously twice a day. And it's still there, but it was like, I've studied. I went into transitioning into studying deep into Buddhism, and now recently one of my last trips to Japan, Shoshu, Nichiren Buddhism, that was born in Japan 700 years ago. It started out, in fact, I'm still technically a member of the Tokyo Temple in Tokyo. And that's whole nother practice, whole different philosophy. I would say in many ways complementary, but in many ways different, which I can get into much deeper. That's another whole conversation. The difference between Buddhism and like Self-Realization Fellowship, for example. Maybe I should. I've got to see if they're open. I'm going to get a cup of coffee. If they are not open and they're closed, in Denver, you may not know this. Of course, I don't expect you to know this, because everyone, probably 100% of people that are watching this video are not in Denver or been to Denver. But Denver has a 24-hour Starbucks. I knew this because I drove a cab there. And I didn't realize, too, down the street from the night facility in Las Vegas, there's a 24-hour Starbucks. And I don't think there's one here in Encinitas, but I was going to check that out. Now, this is one of the things I like staying at Richard's, and I don't mind sleeping on the couch because I don't really sleep much when I'm here. But it's a cool thing about staying at Airbnb. You know, when I get up, I can make some coffee. You're not worried about making noise in the place because I'm the only one there. And turn on the lights and fire up the computer or whatever, go online, do writing, you know, create videos. But when I'm at Richard's place, I'm sensitive. It's you can hear the noise, like if you flush the toilet and stuff. And he currently has a roommate. So I kind of snuck out this morning really quietly. But let me see if this 7-Eleven is open. I have a feeling it's not, but maybe it is. Who knows? It doesn't say anything on the door. Let's check this out. And they had coffee. Good. To tell you the truth, I do miss my house too when I'm out here. I was so split screen. I wanted to be here. It's great to be here. I'm going to enjoy today. But I really love my house, studio, my dad's art studio, and the way my room is for making videos. It's really great just to zone out and just totally focus on the video and then finish it and just take a little break and start another one. Kind of like marathon video making on my 5 days off. I was thinking, how many could I make, you know? Realistically, honestly, I think on my 4 or 5 days off, I'm just totally focused on the studio, because frankly, that's all there is to do when I'm at home, is just basically make videos in my home, walk across and visit my folks. And they're doing pretty bad, and they're saying this isn't much fun, and I visit with them for a while, and it's really hard to just hang out all day, so I go back, and I go back and forth, and buy enough groceries and things to hang out for marathon video making. And I probably do, like if I had stayed there the whole 5 days, I would have easily made probably 20 videos on my time off. And I'm not talking about just not making them just to make them, but really thinking about what I'm doing intentionally and kind of come up with new ideas. So I'm going to try to keep that energy here, even though I don't have my studio. And I'm going to probably hang out with Richard's son, but I'm going to tell him I'm going to probably do my own thing. He'll like it. He's got his own thing. He likes riding his bike. He's probably got things to do. He doesn't, like when I visit him, we don't hang out like 24/7 together. You know, like when I stay at his place, I'll crash out on the couch and he'll do his thing, I'll do my thing. And then we'll say something like, let's get together today at 4 and have a couple beers or something. That's what we do. So what I'm gonna do now, as I have my cup of coffee, I'm gonna drive to Stone Steps where I met Carol. It's nighttime, it's dark. But you know what, I had an apartment with my ex-wife about 5 blocks away. Coming up here. Yeah, motorcycle park right next to me. Oh boy, noise. Okay, no noise. Okay, but anyway, when I was living there, we had an apartment just a few doors down from our office, and sometimes I would just get up and go walk down Stone Steps kind of now, and then this is somewhat middle of the night. I think it's getting close to 4 o'clock in the morning. But I like early mornings because there's hardly anybody out and it's really quiet. And then when the city starts waking up around 6 or so, it gets noisier and people start coming out and all of that, you know. And the traffic starts picking up, you know, it gets noisy. So I am at Stone Steps, so it's probably about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I have my cup of coffee here. And obviously there's nobody here. But if I really want to walk down there, it is open. And this is the steps, if I call it Stone Steps, it goes down to the beach. And you can see the waves. hear them. And you can't see now, obviously it's not daylight, but at night it was pretty common for me to walk up here at night and stand up here and look out the ocean and watch the sunset, because the sunset sets here in the west into the ocean. Watch the sunset. Sometimes the moon's out, it's a full moon. But, you know, sometimes I just used to come over here, wake up in the middle of the night, walk over and check out the ocean. Now the tide's out, so I could, if I was on foot, not in my car, in fact I could still do this with my car, I could walk down this way, and if you walk this way, it's Moonlight Beach. It's like maybe a 20-minute walk, and if I really wanted to, I usually don't do that at night, but you can walk all the way down, especially if it's daytime, go down the steps, walk all the way down the beach, go up, like if I even park my car here, walk all the way down to Moonlight, circle back, come either back down the beach and come up the steps, or come back up on Neptune along the street. So here in North County, again, I'm filming this, I don't have much battery time this morning anyway. What's different about North County beaches here, in San Diego, they're boardwalks. Mission Beach, Pacific Beach, they're flat. I mean, all the beaches are flat down here, but I mean, all the beaches here in Encinitas are cliff access. You have to be kind of local to know where these places are. This is Stone Steps. Moonlight's more of a public beach that most everybody knows about, but this is Stone Steps. And then up the street on Neptune is another beach called Beacons Beach. They're all accesses that a lot of times the surfers come down to. They're local surf spots. Beacons, Swami's, Steps, different beaches where the surfers come out. They don't come out until it's daylight. There'll be surfers out here, but I'm just out extra early. Too early. Expensive houses on the bluff, these houses here, I don't know, God only knows how much these cost. I wouldn't be surprised if these houses right here on the beach, right here on Stone Steps, are like $3, $4 million, $5 million, just because of the location. Because just even small little houses now here go for $1 million, you know, 800,000, 900,000, where they weren't that. I mean, these were still really expensive back in the day when I moved here in the 70s. But I'll give you a perspective. Down the street, down near Beacons, a group of us rented a house on Neptune that was across the street from the beach. And we all shared it. The rent there was like $425 a month. We thought it was expensive back then. Maybe it's like 600 or something like that. Now Richard this is still a possibility, a playground possibility. He has his small little tiny rooms available for about $600 a month. And apartments in Phoenix go for at least $1,000, maybe more. And then I checked into Airbnbs here. They're now going close to $200 a night. So 3 nights would be $600. And there's a night terminal 80 miles from here. Rich and I still talk about me, and I might end up doing this because there's only a certain window that I can do this. I'll have this solid income. That it's not unrealistic that I could rent a room from Richard and be here and drive casual, semi-retired, drive 2 weeks out of the month, make whatever I need with my Social Security income, and have 2 weeks off, 2 full weeks off every month in Encinitas right here. Because at $200 a night for the Airbnb, paying him $600 would be well worth it because I'd have 14 days off here every single month. So I still toy around with that possibility. And this is actually a really good launch pad too. This is where I take off to go to Japan, is in San Diego. And Japan is 6,000 miles out into the ocean here. So this is all interconnected to my driving to Tokyo story and potentially my future. that's what I'm examining now, is how to consciously live my life from this point forward, you know. And I'm also realizing the limitations and the realities of life. You know, I can only work so much more with night, and you know, I'm getting up in years. Don't know how healthy I'm going to stay for how long. So the clock is ticking. You know. And this is, I still think Encinitas, and for me especially, is still a cool place to live of all the places in the world. Now, my friends Gordy and Sharon, they invested in real estate here, and they ended up, I think, selling, making money, and retiring in Hawaii. They're out in Hawaii. But they lived here in Encinitas for years and years. And I think they still have a daughter here, Kelowna, that lives here. But they're out in Hawaii. But this is the closest thing to the Hawaii vibe, in my opinion, in the U.S. This exact location, this area is, as far as certain. And linked to Japan, the place I stay with Saudi, and the people I met through Saudi at the beach in our south of Tokyo reminds me of the waves are a lot smaller, but the vibe, and it's not quite the same, but the vibe and the people and the ocean and Kamakura and that whole southern part, you know, out of the city. It's like an hour south of Tokyo by train. Kind of reminds me of Encinitas, because this is about, you know, 40 minutes by train from San Diego, from the city. So it kind of reminds me of that area. So it's kind of, to me, it's interconnected. So, who knows, maybe I'll be like a regular person and go back to Richard's place and crash out again on the couch for a couple more hours. Just thought I'd come and just check this place out, because it's gonna, after the sun comes up, people start waking up. This street here will be really busy. Moonlight, beaches, this city just comes alive, and then it's a whole nother scene. So this is Encinitas, about maybe 4:30 in the morning at Stone Steps Beach. I'm gonna come back to all these places in daylight with my 7-Eleven cup of coffee in my Subaru, which thankfully, that's how I got here. This is a one-way street here, so I'm gonna go up Neptune. Neptune is the street that runs right along the ocean. And the next beach up that I have to make a left turn. I can actually technically go straight if I really want to. In fact, I might go down to, I was gonna say make a left. That runs right over to Beacons, but I can go straight here, technically. And I'm just gonna drive back to Richard's apartment since it's dark. And it's no fun for all of you to watch dark videos. I'm not gonna do like 2 hours of driving in the dark. But I'm not even sure if I'm gonna put this on my channel or anything. I'm just doing this. And you know, and to be honest with you, I realized, you know, my friends Brian and Sandy actually came through here, and they just stopped for a cup of coffee. I don't even think they even stopped and spent any time here. They went down to San Diego. So I realized that this probably just has more meaning to me because I have history here. Now this is my friend Gordy and Sharon's old house. They live right here. They actually lived a couple places, but this is one of the places that they lived in, rented, when I was, had my health center. And then they rented another place, I guess, right down the street here. And then they bought a house. They put together their money when houses were still within reach. And they bought a house. I think they, don't know exactly how it'll work. They sold it, I know. And, but they're now in Hawaii. And frankly, I don't talk to them very much. They're on my Facebook page. But this is kind of just, I wish I'm going to come back at daylight, but these are just going down the street. You see how quiet it is here. These are just the back way to Richard's place. And I've walked, what's cool thing is when I'm parked at Richard's place, and if I live there, and it's true for Richard too, if I lived there, paid $600 a month, rented a room, you have the car if you need it, but most of the time you walk or ride a bicycle everywhere here. You just walk through here, ride a bicycle. This is only 5 minutes from Richard's apartment. Right around, he's on 3rd Street, it's around the corner. We're just right around the corner from a place called Moonlight Beach. And so if I lived here 2 weeks out of the month, to me it would be worth $600. However, the flip side is, if I lived here and did casual, I have 2 weeks worth of income I don't have. I'm losing 2 weeks of income, and I'm paying $600 a month for rent that I'm not currently paying now. So it's a trade-off. It's kind of, thinking in terms of, how do I want to live my life? And also, is it better to start cycling down? Start cycling down a little bit now, because maybe I can work longer if I work less now, that kind of thing. So just weighing all the options. And then obviously if I'm paying $600 a month for rent, and then I'm just not working those 2 weeks, I'm working casual, then I can't save as much as I've been saving. So I'm just having to weigh all that stuff out. I don't even really have to think about where I'm going, because I know even though it's dark, I know this town like the palm of my hand. I've walked these streets and a zillion sometimes, gazillion. But I'm driving this to show you that the thing I still love about Encinitas, even though it's gotten really expensive, and you'll see it's really busy. This is summertime, prime time, but now, you see, it's so really quiet. It's kind of got still a small town, rural vibe to it. You can see we've hardly even seen any cars at all. There's a truck route outside. I can't actually go down here on my track. And by the way, this is the area when I first drove a Kenworth when I was 20-something years old. We had a beach house here, and this is where I lived. That's drove my first Kenworth. We were off of Acadia Boulevard. We lived here, and I drove a truck 2 weeks, and I had 2 weeks off. So I did, ironically, I did that schedule when I first drove a truck when I was 20-something years old. Here, I drove a truck 2 weeks, went out, and then had 2 weeks off. We split the workload up. There's 4 of us that lived in a beach house here in Encinitas area. So that's another reason why it's a throwback. There is a connection, a truck driving element to all of this. We're almost to Richards again. Stop sign. See, there's actually a car. Oh my God, there's a car. There's one car. Somebody out. But see, it's 4:35 in the morning. My parking space is probably going to still be there, I imagine. I left the back door open. Richard used to put a key, hiding key. I asked him about they used to have a key. It wasn't there, so I left the back door open. right straight down the street here. Straight down the street is the SRF ashram. It's about 5 blocks down the street. That's, you know, I've talked about on Facebook. So he's right here. The SRF temple's like 2 blocks away. The ashram's like 5 blocks away. Here's his place is just right around the corner here. The beach is just right up here. Let's see. Yeah, my parking space is still there. So I'm gonna park the car and go back into Richard's place. Probably crash out for a few hours until it gets light.